First of all, I'd like to thank Sean Dell and Representative Garcia, Wrangler Vassal, for putting this on, because this is something that needed to happen. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here, because it says a lot about who you are, that you care, and it starts with us. So thank you for being here. And I also like to say I cannot imagine the pain that moms that have lost their sons have gone through and continue to go through. So I love each and every one of you who have lost your son, because I cannot imagine. I'm here as a man because I have sisters, I have nieces, I have cousins, I have females in my family, and I can't even imagine how it would be so traumatic in our family and the community that we live in if something were to happen to any of our loved ones. So I understand that this is vital. But I also understand this. I understand that we have an unprecedented amount of guns on the street. We have more guns on the street now than ever before, so somebody's making out and it ain't us. All right, so we got to deal with that issue of unprecedented numbers of guns on our streets. How'd they get there? Where they coming from? Second, when you defund education, when you defund housing, when you defund mental health services, when you defund small business, when you don't have opportunity for jobs, things happen. When you take away hope, when you take away opportunity for people, things happen. What would you expect? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, so it's structural and it's institutional. And we at the NAACP Providence Branch vow to attack that structural and institutional problem that plague not just the inner cities of Rhode Island, but the inner cities across this nation. So we pledge to do that because we understand the root causes of all of this, right? We know. There are people that pretend they don't know, but they know too, okay? So what I'm saying is that we have to stay resilient, and I hate to say that because how much can any community stand? But we have always been strong. When people talk about the good old days, they're not talking about, they're talking about us. I don't ever remember any good old days. I started my community work in 1972 when I was 20 years old, working in my neighborhood, the south end of Boston, to get people affordable housing, working at the South End Neighborhood Action Program as a college intern 49 short years ago. And I'm still here to say that we can do this. We can stay resilient, we can stay strong. We've always been resilient and strong since the beginning of this country. We're still here. Yeah. And what I'm also going to say is because we're resilient, because we're strong, because we've been here all this time, there is no excuse for taking another life. I don't care about disrespect. I don't care about revenge. That's weak, okay? We are not weak people. You have no reason to take another person's life. I cannot believe that people feel that there's a rationale for doing that. There is none. I don't care how hard you've had it. I don't care. I grew up in the poorest neighborhood in Boston. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. There's no excuse. None. I'm not going to accept it. I know people that have grew up tough and poor, and yet they didn't feel they had to pick up a gun and shoot anybody. So don't tell it to me. Don't tell it to me, because I am not interested in listening. Well, I know the mean streets. Grew up in them. So what I'm here to say in conclusion, let's keep together. Let's make sure that we contact our elected officials in a more organized way. When they get 6 calls, it's an issue. When they get 12 calls, it's a crisis. Remember that. They respond to calls and letters. Calls and letters. We're going to stop getting good at calls and letters. We're going to start letter writing. We're going to do it the old school. Make sure that they do the snail mail. Let's get good at that, because when they get those letters, there's a panic. So, oh my goodness, this has got to be important. If I don't deal with this, they're going to vote me out. That's what they're thinking, so that's the way you do it. And you got to register to vote, and you cannot say my vote doesn't count. Your vote does count. Yeah. It does count. Tell college to vote in Pawtucket, who lost a state rep race by 1 vote, then it doesn't count. 1 vote. John F. Kennedy won the presidency by 1 vote per precinct in the United States in 1960. 1 vote. So your vote always counts. So make sure you engage your community, mobilize, join the NAACP, join whoever you want to join if you feel comfortable, but do something. Do something, and do it now. Thank you very much.